Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, March 9, 2023. Government will be implementing a $40 billion island-wide road infrastructure program called Shared Prosperity through Accelerated Improvement to a Road Network, SPARK. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, made the announcement while opening the budget debate on Tuesday. SPARK will be executed over a 3-year period, with project development to begin in the upcoming 2023-24 fiscal year and implementation in the following financial year. It's being implemented under the theme Modernizing Our Roads for Our Shared Prosperity.
We estimate that over 2,000 roads across Jamaica will be able to be rehabilitated through this SPARK project.
The SPARK program will not be constituency-based, but members of Parliament will have the opportunity to make input and representation for their communities. The initiative will be fully funded by the government and evaluated under the Public Investment Management System, PIMS. Minister Clark says focus will be on secondary roads, with attention also given to some main roads and major thoroughfares that require rehabilitation to reduce the likelihood of road collisions. In other news from Parliament, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will be importing about 6,000 goats, sheep and pigs over the next 3 years to assist small ruminant and pig farmers. The measure is intended to improve local food security, reduce importation of animal feed, and support income generation and employment, particularly for farmers in rural Jamaica.
They will be for breeding, Madam Speaker, and to boost our local supplies. These will not be slaughtered for the consumer market. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will import and distribute the animals in breeding clusters, and private farmers will qualify to import their own.
While making his budget debate presentation on Tuesday, the finance minister announced that in support of this initiative, government would be eliminating GCT on the importation of small ruminants and pigs. The Agriculture Ministry will be importing the live animals over a 5-year period commencing in fiscal year 2023-24. In the meantime, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will be spending $903 million to build a modern, biosecure, climate-resilient tilapia hatchery on the island. The hatchery will be built at Twickenham Park in St. Catherine through the National Fisheries Authority. It is being done as a component of the Promoting Community-Based Climate Resilience in the Fisheries Sector (PCCR) project. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. says the hatchery is a sound investment for the country as it seeks to meet the consumer demand for fish.
The type of innovation and the modernization that comes from the building of this hatchery will permit us to achieve the demand, or at least to meet most of the demand. We are now under 2 million fry, and this will push us to 5 million.
The minister was addressing a stakeholders' validation meeting held recently in St. Catherine. The new hatchery will feature a recirculating aquaculture system that will use 10% less water than traditional hatchery systems. Government is looking to increase the cadre of public sector leaders who are knowledgeable in financial management. The training and exposure of personnel will be facilitated through the establishment of a Fiscal Research Institute. The government is providing an initial $200 million in grant funding to the University of the West Indies, UWI, for the formation of the institute within the Department of Economics. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark made the announcement in Parliament earlier this week.
If we are to command our own ship, Madam Speaker, and to command it sustainably and independently, then a large increase in the supply of graduates specializing in public finance is a national imperative. In addition, generations of public sector leaders will need better exposure to and training in financial management.
Minister Clark says he intends to secure the private sector's support in endowing the chair of the institute in collaboration with the UWI. The Fiscal Research Institute will be a non-partisan think tank engaged in conducting rigorous high-level research, teaching, and training in public finance and public policy. It will offer courses in public finance and public financial management at the undergraduate and graduate levels. The institute will analyze and inform economic and social policy decisions such as public expenditure, taxation, and fiscal sustainability. This is to help policymakers and the general population understand the impact of public choices on individuals, households, firms, and the government's financial position.
While we'll always be able to benefit from the advice of multilateral partners, the Jamaica project becomes unsustainable without increased domestic capacity for public finance management, training, analysis, and research. We must preserve and maintain the gains.
The country's new banknotes will be in circulation in another 3 months. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, says implementation will take effect by mid-June. The Bank of Jamaica will develop a full public relations campaign for the new banknotes.
The timeline for the issuance of the new notes into circulation requires the banks to complete the adaptation of their automated banking machines and other equipment. The process is advanced. We expect testing in May with a view of full implementation by June of 2023.
The upgrade of Jamaican banknotes was announced last year, along with the introduction of a new $2,000 denomination. The new notes will use the latest in material technology to make them more durable. And finally, government will be speeding up the passage of amendments to gender-based legislation in the new fiscal year. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement on International Women's Day during a breakfast event at Jamaica House. He says the legislative amendments will address the issue of gender-based violence in the society.
We have taken the decision that we will put those issues, we'll bring them back, the amendments to the Offences Against the Person, the Domestic Violence Act, those legislation which have already been reviewed and debated and the amendments even drafted, that we're going to bring them back now on the front burner and have them dealt with.
He says discussions are also being held on related matters, including financing for the construction of more shelters to treat victims of gender-based violence. Meanwhile, host of the Women's Breakfast event, Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, Juliet Holness, is calling for the protection of women.
Safety and security is also a concern for many women in Jamaica. We need to spend some time thinking about how we can further protect women and girls against physical abuse, social and economic risk, and think about how we can reduce some of those traditional forms of discrimination against women.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.